And she looked again, but still couldn't find the man who was sublime, and tried again, but no, that wasn't to be. Still she produced from one but two daughters we. Wow, that is pretty neat. Take a seat, the channel you read is LGBT friendly, and so you best respectful of others, or you will be launched into orbit by Robin's Mars. Ooh yeah, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Robin, she is awesome. Some lyrics I can't think of. Let's talk about the things of this world that matter, so we can maybe think about a way to make it neat. It will be sweet. Yeah, yeah, Robin. Don't mention Batman at all. I've heard it before. It's not funny. Speaking of funny, here is a bunny. I'm gonna put it on my head. Yes, I'm going to put this stuff bunny on my head.
Okay, nothing like talking for a few minutes when you're muted. Um, I said I must have messed up my swap to the next screen setting, so I don't know. Anyway, like I'm so technologically challenged that I feel good every time I make it through one of these. Actually, um, okay. What I've got today is a video I thought it would be fun to respond to, which I watched it last night. It was Alex O'Connor, and he had a journalist named Ross Douthat. I think that's how you pronounce it. Anyway, he wrote a book called Believe, and he says that belief in God is an intellectual obligation. Now, that is a very big claim, and something that, of course, any self-respecting atheist is going to question. Like, not only are they giving us oughts on how we are to behave, now we ought believe in a God, I guess, too. And to be intellectually honest, I thought that was very interesting framing. But anyway, we're going to see if this guy has got some stuff that's going to even convince Alex. You know, Alex. I kind of see Alex as one of the people who's more open to the idea of a God. Maybe he's just trolling them people and like leading them around like with a hot dog in his hand. I don't know, but he does genuinely talk about honestly searching for a God. I actually am not searching. Like, if a God proved that, if I found out a God existed, I would believe in it. But I'm not out looking for it. I'm like, if hide and seek is the game, I'm not seeking. I don't have time to spend my life running around looking for a hiding God. So, hey Hazel, I sent you a link on. Okay, here. Then we got Robert. Hey, Robert.
Howdy.
I figured this would be a great one for you to help with because, like, did you hear my thing? This guy.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, this guy wrote a book. We're intellectually obligated to believe in God. It's an ought. No, but I'm gonna let y'all decide through the video if y'all think that he provides any kind of like justification for that obligation that he claims. But let's just say I don't think Alex is a Christian yet, and I'm not either. So, and I think Hizzle said he watched half of it, and I don't think he's joined either. Oh, he's behind the sofa, Spooky said. That's a good place for him. No swearing, Robert. Robert can swear all he wants. Like, he is allowed to swear all he wants. He can do whatever he wants. And hey, Chuck. Hello, Spooky. Hello, Neil. I'm so glad to see everybody. I don't know. I just sent out invitations while I go, so we'll see. And everybody, when this is over at 9 o'clock tonight, BS Lewis is doing a stream. So it's a like that's always like a fun gift when BS does a stream. So I was glad to find out that I didn't set mine up at the same time as him. Good. All right. Well, we're gonna. I thought Hizzle was coming in. I don't know if he is or not. But if he's not, I sent Simos one too, but I don't know if Simos is probably sleeping right now, and I don't know if he's up for doing live streams right now. So, if you're out there, Simos, we love you. We miss you, and I'm sure you'll be proud of Alex here.
And if that's Chuck's real pompadour going on there, I just want to say, bang.
That is an awesome mullet, isn't it? Huh?
Yeah, his mullet and his little pump in the front.
Yeah.
Lean into the swearing. No, I don't generally use a lot, but
yeah. Robert's actually not too bad mouth guy.
He's been around. What's going on, Robin? There's an underlining joke here. I've been over on another channel, and apparently a guy didn't want to conversate with me anymore because he said, I can't talk to you. You have a potty mouth, and that nothing you say is basically valid because I have a potty mouth. So it was pretty good.
He would love me, wouldn't he? When I thought, fuck, and I got to say, yeah, he loved me. He thinks that you have a potty mouth.
I'm fairly tame.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've never heard you spew like a whole line of cuss words without taking a breath before, and I know I've done it several times.
Yeah.
You're probably one of our cleaner mouthed atheists out there, and he must be very sensitive.
Some people just need a reason out of an argument. That's all.
Yeah, that's true. And yes, words offend. Lots of people, words offend them. A Davy Crockett hat. What's a Davy Crockett hat?
He's saying that might not be a mullet. It might be a Davy Crockett hat. Or maybe it's just shaped I think it is a mullet. I don't know. Chuck would know. But
it's mullet.
It looks, I think it's a mullet. But yeah, it looks very Davy Crockett-like.
Looks very 1980-ish something. 1980 something. Davy Crockett, I have a bumper sticker that says, "You may go to hell and I will go to Texas." And that was Davy Crockett's famous saying right before he died at the Alamo. All right, let's watch this video. Like I said, this is Alex. I love Alex, and this guy is Simos is here.
I'm so sorry.
Oh,
the clocks went back.
Oh, I know. I didn't know if you felt like it or not, but I went ahead and sent you the link.
Oh, yeah. No, glad you did. There we go.
I wasn't going to be mad. I didn't know how you felt.
Yeah, I went back to sleep again at like 10 o'clock or something, and I thought, well, I've got 3 hours till 1 o'clock, so that's worth it. And then, of course, I woke up going, do you know what? Why do I feel like I'm late? And I rushed to the PC, just as well I did, switched it on, and then went, oh, it says 1 o'clock, and yet you've started at 12 now.
Yeah.
That's
we just now started.
Oh, fantastic.
I haven't even started the video yet.
Oh dear. Because the first half hour of it is just bullshit.
Yeah, well, I pretty much thought most of it kind of was, but I wasn't gonna like burn,
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna spoil it. But I'm not a Christian. I don't think Alex is a Christian. Are you a Christian after watching it?
No. Am I a Christian after watching it? That's a good question. I don't know what I am after I watched. I mean, I haven't watched all of it. I only watched the first half hour. That's why I thought.
Hey, just do the Jordan Peterson thing. Say, what is a Christian? What even is?
Yeah, no. I mean, I think that I potentially. Well, it depends what you mean by R, and then it depends what you mean by U.
What?
And then it depends what you mean by A, and then it depends what you mean by Christian. I mean, I could answer that question, but I think we'd need several lectures.
Yes, and dictionaries.
Right. Yes. Thank you. I'm back. I'm back on form now. Thank you for that little prompt.
Oh, yeah. I said this guy is he's a journalist for the is it New York Times or
Says it was. Yeah. I think
um
he's full on religio person now. I think.
he's not I don't think he's a Bob Woodward, and I don't think that he has very good epistemology when it comes to like and like I said, he thinks we're obligated, intellectually obligated to believe in God. So
Yeah, it's kind of weird. He is kind of weird. I will say that. I think I've seen him before. Number one, somewhere. Don't know where exactly, but there you go. Um,
all right, I don't
yeah,
think
it says he's a columnist in your thing.
yeah, I was thinking it was New York. I mean,
MYT, yeah,
okay, New York
New York
Times.
Times, yeah. But under his own thing, I think I looked it up. Oh no, it says there you go. American journalist who's correspondent with CBS 60 Minutes. Prior to joining that, he was a conservative columnist in New York Times,
Oh,
senior editor of The Atlantic, and a film critic for the National Review. And like that's always a bit dodgy, isn't it, when you get film critic?
oh,
I'm
we got
thinking,
Jill
I
out
keep
in
thinking,
chat reminding us that God is
hmm
the sovereign ruler of the universe. Yes.
God is this. Well, it depends what you mean by sovereign. It depends what you mean by ruler.
You should at
And it
least
depends
come
what
show up for work.
Depends on what you mean by universe. Clearly,
Yeah, yeah,
Yes, Jill's in his own universe compared to the rest of us, I think.
I think
yes,
so.
yes, yes, yes.
I think so. Yeah, still there you go. Apparently the Neanderthals built the Leaning Tower of Pisa. No, what's it called? Babylon? No,
Babel.
no, it's Babel. The Tower of Babel. Thank you. That was built by the Neanderthals, according to our young Jill friend.
It's spelled Babel, not Babble, but it should be Babble. Yeah.
Mm.
Definitely
Yeah,
a real place that really happened because we all
yeah,
know
I think so. Yeah, I think
we all
so.
know
Yeah,
that's how language evolves.
yeah. No, I think it's pointing at another Babylonian story. That's what I think, because they had there was a city, isn't it, called Mary, which had it was called the City of 1,000 Gods.
Damn.
Yeah, so they'd obviously they had a pretty big ziggurat, I'm assuming, which
You
is
could pick
where
your
the god
favorite
used
one
to.
though. Then that way you could like because I don't like the biblical God, and at least if we had like a
Hmm.
bunch of different ones, I could like go pick through them and find one maybe that I liked. That's
Yeah.
what the Greeks at least probably had one that you kind of like a little bit every now and then.
Well, I
Yeah.
don't know as far as in the singular pantheon which one's the largest, but if I had to guess, it's probably the Canaanite group has 70 sons of El, right? So, and we have literature on that from the Canaanite that suggests that there's 70 sons and that these sons are like different gods over different lands, and they're all in one pantheon. So that's might be the biggest that I've seen in literature.
Yeah, but they only ruled over just a little place in the Levant. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that's true.
Like
Yeah, yeah.
the Roman and Greek gods
it's-
ruled like pretty much half the world at one time.
Uh, yes, no, that is very true. Very true. And yeah.
But there
I think so.
wasn't 70 of them.
Yeah,
No,
it's
just
a lot
12.
less than 70. Just shows how more powerful they are. But
Yeah, yes, it's true.
another
Just
one.
12. Well, there was actually 13 because Hesta like stepped down and let Dionysus on the panel, so but she was still a goddess. So
Well, of course, they've been disproved by the archaeological shovel, according to someone out there who shall remain nameless, but happens to begin with Calamity Jill.
Jill disproved a god.
Apparently he said that the Greek gods have been disproven
Oh, really?
by the archaeological shovel, because like they've dug. I mean, I assume he means that they've dug the entire mountain of Olympus and not found any gods.
Kind of like they've dug up, like not found any part of the Exodus or the Like
Mm.
That was the argument we were in at the
Laura,
time. Yes,
and then
Mount Sinai in
and then the
particular.
empty tomb. That's definitely not worked out well for you either, Jill.
Yeah. Well, never mind. Never
But there's
mind.
those black rocks on the top of Mount Sinai. That's cyanide, y'all.
There, we don't know where Mount Sinai is. That's never been found.
And they found a bush. It's kind of burnt up.
It was burnt. Oh well, there you go. Open and shut
got
case.
struck by
Yeah,
lightning a few years back. Actually, I think that Mount Sinai is actually a mountains of Sinai. Anyway, isn't that what it says in the Hebrew? Like
No,
I don't know.
no.
I don't think so.
It says it's a singular mountain,
No.
and they also say in that particular book, or later, they say that they don't know where it is. So if the people of the time didn't know where it was,
Yeah,
or
they lost
shortly
it.
after, then I'm guessing that we don't know where it is either.
Yeah, they got lost. They lost it right away. They did. I'm thinking
Pretty much,
about the where the ark rested. That was the one that rested.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, in Serbia or somewhere like
I'm
that.
getting all those Bible mountains mixed up.
Mm,
Yes.
yeah.
All right. Well, let's go see what Alex says.
Oh dear. Okay. Right. I'm just gonna go and get myself a coffee.
Yes.
So
Go
I
ahead.
don't fall
Let me
asleep.
wait.
No. You go ahead because
you've already seen it.
Robert's here, and I know Robert can question definitions just as well as I can.
Sure.
Yeah. Well,
Keep in
depends what
mind,
you
I've
mean.
worked all day though, so I'm a little less energetic generally on the
Well,
work
this is
days,
why I'm
but
going
we'll
to get the coffee. But Spooky says he knows where it is, but he's not telling. Good old
Okay.
Spooky. He can be
Spooky.
relied upon to keep a secret.
Yes, Spooky. Spooky. Poor Mr. Farage didn't beat old Ben Face, did he? I was really disappointed.
Ross Douthat, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here. In the introduction of your book, Believe, which I promised I would waive, you say that religious belief is not just an option, but an obligation. What does that mean?
It means that there are enough reasons sort of in front of us.
Okay, I'm going to check my stuff first. Can everybody hear it out there?
I hear it. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay, because
I was. This guy's name is Ross Douthat.
Ross Douthat.
Douthat.
We
Yeah.
need crowd participation though to know whether they're hearing good. So everybody hearing good out there?
Spooky, can you
Yeah.
hear the video?
Can you hear the words that are coming out of my mouth?
Yeah, I know Farage won. See, I was rooting for the other guy because Nerdy said that's who he was rooting for. Okay, all right, we're
Yeah.
good.
Far Age. Yeah, Far Age. It's pronounced.
However you pronounce his name.
It's not, but I prefer it. Far Age.
Far Age.
That don't require insanely complicated philosophical arguments or personal mystical experiences. To think that the universe exists for a reason, that it is a fashioned or created thing rather than a accidental or entirely contingent thing, and that human life has some sort of cosmic purpose within that framework. And I take that to be sort of the jumping off point for religious exploration, interest, and belief. So it's sort of a minimal, it's a minimal claim in a way. It's a maximal claim if you find it preposterous, but it's not a claim that everyone is obliged to.
Because
do
I
X
do
or
find
Y.
it preposterous. I do find it preposterous because it is assuming that people are not content with not knowing. So what this gentleman is doing is he's assuming that everybody, when they see the universe, that we're starting at a starting point of not knowing why these things are, how they come to be, that we have to have some internal explanation that, oh no, we have to, therefore we have to make a submission to something before we understand a larger complexity. And the truth be told, some people just don't need to have a definition for an understanding of why everything came to be, why everything is. We don't, and not everybody looks at a tree and says, yes, But
A tree
what is
or-
the essence of a tree, or where did it come from? That's just that's not a given.
No. It's like I read some of the comments. One of them was like, "I've never seen such way to put. I don't understand this, so it must be God must be real." But,
Yeah, I think also, he's hinted at several, like what I would call arguments, right? I think he's even mentioned a couple. I don't kind of brief thing, but what he essentially was saying to me was that, look, that's a good reason to believe there is, even before we've even thought about the argument.
yeah. Are you guys
So
fan on
that's
Samos? Are you guys
We're
fan
getting
on?
some kind of fan or something.
It's
sorry,
very
yeah.
hot. It's very hot in the UK. So like, yes, like, and they don't have air conditioning over there.
That he's like kind of let me just move away from that. He's suggesting that he's kind of saying, look, even without any arguments or evidences, then we've kind of got a reason to believe, right?
Self-evident.
It's self-evident in some ways, which it's kind of reeks of precept to me. So I think if he's caveating the very first sentence as, look, we have an obligation to believe, right? That's kind of begging the question of God's existence, as far as I'm concerned. Now he could be doing it using the Jordan Peterson kind of argument, I guess, which is like, it's beneficial for everybody to believe in his version of God, I guess. But yeah, beneficial to him maybe, but obviously that's not beneficial to the Hindus or the Islamic people, or however many of the other great religions of the world there are. So I think on his face, he's basically just talking precept and transcendental shite. As we all know, it is a complete nonsense of an argument.
Well, I disagree with the idea of a great religion, actually.
Well, they're so-called great religions. I mean,
Hello, Scott.
so cool. No, I don't think they're great in that respect. I think they're great
But
in
more
terms
popular.
of the numbers of people.
Yeah. The popular cults.
Hey, Jill, we're just not all as good as you.
That's a lovely way to say it.
We can't beat you. That's why. But we're all scared.
Yeah, stay around, Jill. I'm going to make plenty of claims for you to do straw man and do little shorts of. So.
Oh,
Oh, it was Jill as well. I've just come back to my PC. How did I know that?
oh, I don't know. Like, you must be a prophet.
Yeah.
Or you
Anyway,
know
there you
Jill.
go. 36 Celsius in North Texas. Wow. I don't even know what it was here. I had the chance to go out, but I didn't, because I just opened the front door and went, oh, no.
Don't go out. Don't go outside. No.
Anyway, that's all I've got to say about what he just said there. He's kind of just like covering all his bases. So if anybody has any objections, then he's just going to retreat to, but a fool in his heart. Oh, no.
Yeah,
Romans.
he's a Catholic too. This guy, by the way, he's
Catholic. Oh, my word.
But he
Okay.
yeah, but he wants to try to, like, he tries to get people, like, he tries to make the argument that, like, panpsychism or something gets you closer to God, and like, I don't know. I don't think he was prepared for how well Alex, and Alex is really easy on him. So
yeah. Alex is doesn't like to be confrontarian. He's not a confrontarianism. Confrontarianist.
Yeah, unless he's debating Dinesh D'Souza about the Bible.
Well, yeah, that was special, wasn't it?
That's Dinesh. Let's be fair.
That's one of the best. That's my favorite debate probably ever. I'm like right up there with Hitchens and Fry and the Catholic Church.
That was a good one. Yeah. That was.
But the Dinesh D'Souza and Alex O'Connor is a pain burn debate. All
I
right.
like the other.
Jersey,
I
or
like
fully.
I like the Dillahunty and Jordan Peterson one, and I also liked the what was the early one of that I really liked.
We got Sam Harris and Jordan Peterson too.
Yeah, I wasn't so keen on that
William
one.
M. Craig. Sam Harris and William Craig is the one that I became an atheist on.
No, the Sam Harris and Warple.
Oh yes, and the one where they like when Hitchens and Sam debate Whoopi and the other rabbi.
Yeah,
that was
quite
actually
a good
that
one.
was a good one. I like
Yeah.
that one.
And
I
they
like
debated
this. I like the
afterlife.
I like the single one because he said, well, I could believe that I was Elvis,
Yeah.
or I could get up and pray over my cereal, and
Yeah.
I like that.
you could believe you're Elvis. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like that double one because Whoopi says, "Yeah, in another world we might be winning."
Yeah. What's hell like?
Yeah. Sam said, "I was worried to death about everybody coming here and wasting a perfectly good Thursday evening, and watching all four of us explain in so many different ways that we don't know what happens when you die." And he said, "My wife said, don't worry about it, Chris. Nothing Hitchens does is boring." So
Yeah. Anyway, let me just say hi to OE. Thank you so much for the kind words. And I'm kind of back. I'm not back fully yet, but I'm doing a special one for
He's
our
back.
lovely Robin.
Yeah, he's still on the injured list. We're just like playing him in. Like,
just coming in slowly.
I want to point out, y'all haven't been noticing this. This is a primary theme of Jill. Is like, oh, I'm a winner. I'm winning. Everything's winning. There's no part at which he's winning, and he even like debates that will look so embarrassing for him, like the one with OE, that he's just so unbelievably lost. I think you've probably watched Lost Christians that watch that and were rooting for you. They've maybe even left the faith. That's how bad you lost that argument, but you have still touted constantly, I won that. He's licking his wounds. So the cognitive dissonance that you have when you have humiliated yourself is still, it's just priceless.
This is why we like Jill. Right? I mean, like as I said, I love going through his greatest hits. Another one of his greatest hits was that your ancestors are your descendants. He said that. He literally said that once. Brilliant, absolutely fucking brilliant. You can't beat these quotes. I'm telling you, there is none more stupid than a Christian in his certainty.
All right, so let's hear some more. All we're gonna get over here on the side is how awesome Jill is from Jill himself.
Yes, you should always be your own biggest fan.
Fulfill the dictates of a particular church, but being interested in religion, I think there's more than enough out there and before your eyes to make that intellectually obligatory.
As in, you think that when you do take a look at this evidence, there's enough there that to dismiss it and to...
Okay, there's enough just within our eyes, what we can see, to make it an ought that we should believe in a God.
That's what it says.
I don't think he went that far. I think he was suggesting to be interested in religion is what he couched it in here.
Sorry, but he said obligatory, right? Which means we ought to believe. It's not that it's there is an ought there, right? It's a moral duty for humankind to believe in this particular God. Right? Why? Because the Bible says, right? There's plain enough evidence just in the book of nature.
Would it be weird if I didn't know how flowers grew and I didn't know anything about the processes of flowers, and then I went out and I saw the garden and I had heard the story that like there are fairies that help cultivate and make flowers grow? Would it be weird if, in the absence of knowing how the flowers grew, that I didn't say that must be fairies? Or would that not be weird for me to not subscribe to the proposition of fairies, even though I don't know how the flowers grow?
I mean, it depends on what you mean by grow. No, I mean, sorry, I'm gonna use that joke quite a lot probably now. But no, I think look, it it depends upon your epistemology, doesn't it? Completely, right? So if you already have a presupposition that this is the case, right, and you just said, well, look, what if I was an agnostic to how the garden came about, right? Then is it reasonable to put some agency behind it, right? And I
Yes.
suppose it's reasonable in the fact that we are an evolved species which cling to agency in order to help our survival, right? Certainly when we're young and dumb in our species, right? So, like apes,
Yeah.
etc., would have done exactly this. They would have thought that every bush that rustled had a mamba snake in it, or a saber-toothed tiger, or
Sure,
some.
but that's a threat detection one. It's not exactly that we're compelled to have an opinion or a position on something that is not relative in terms of threat. So if
Well,
we're talking about like an explanation for the garden, and we see the garden or we see plants that have grown, and like we don't know how that is grown, like are we internally compelled, or are we intellectually just stupid if we don't say I must know how these things grow, and in the absence of knowing things that we should just kind of say, well, fairies must do this?
Yeah.
That seems to
right.
me a huge leap.
Right. Well, I'm saying, I think there's two parts to the threat one thing, right? The second part is, well, when we do run away, right, and we hear the bush rustle, and we do run away, and then we climb a tree or something, and we see that it's not a saber-toothed tiger. Well, then the bushes must have rustled on their own, so that the bushes must have agency.
Well, most of the time
I
we
think that
probably
that's a
never even looked.
logical.
We
That's a
probably
logical.
never looked to
That's
see. I mean, we
Yeah, I
probably
mean-
ran away and never even looked, but we assumed that there was something in the bush. Like,
yeah. We assume there's something in the bush, and it's probably something in the pre-dawn of our human re-evolution. Sorry to scare off all the Christians there by using the evil word. But yeah, so I mean, because of that, I think that there's a reason to think that agency is all about us. And I do honestly think that we can't, especially in the early days of our evolution, we can't tell that what's going on inside our head is that distinct from what's going on outside. It's very easy for us now to think, oh look,
yeah, we can do scans. We can do scans on brains and stuff like that.
well, not only that, is that we become accustomed to things like the scientific method,
Yes.
right? Which is like, okay, so there's a process which is distinct from the outside world, right? Objectivity and subjectivity are well defined, right? Stances are well defined. Stance independence is well defined, and we know that stance independent is outside. So there's no need now to graft on agency to the outside world, because we're making them stance dependent then, right? Which
Yep.
counters all of the scientific knowledge that we've gained in the last 3,000 years plus.
Yep.
So I think that there's a good reason to think that, or there was a good reason before science to think that Aries is what done it.
But think of all of the religious people that fought putting lightning rods up because they thought that actually lightning was something that God used,
Punish.
to punish people. And so they were like, oh, you'll be interfering. Like this lightning rod, like, will stop my God from punishing you.
Yeah, or the church, which you would never want to punish anyway. But yeah, no, absolutely. This is definitely one of the conflicts that once you get into the scientific period, I mean, there is a tension there. I'm not saying that you can't be a Christian and a scientist. I mean, of course you can, because you can obviously push God into an area which is metaphorical or truer than true. To use that famous phrase, Petersonian phrase.
Yeah.
Which is just bullshit. It's according to me. I just, when I hear someone say truer than true, I think, oh, they mean bullshit. Yeah, okay,
Truer
good.
than
Yeah,
true.
they 100% they mean bullshit.
Yeah, I was gonna say what is that? Truer than true. That must be something Trump said.
Jordan Peterson. That's part of his
same thing.
archetypal kind of misunderstanding of
It's
Dostoevsky.
meta true.
Meta true. Yeah, meta. He's definitely meta.
Yeah, basically.
All right.
That's what he's talking
Y'all
about.
ready?
Yeah.
Believe in this alternate view that you talked about, the sort of accidental contingent existence becomes a full-on mistake. In other words, do you sort of grant any credence to the agnostic? And I mean like the informed agnostic who isn't just someone who hasn't looked into it.
You mean someone, hypothetically, who hosts a podcast on which he's constantly having
I could think of one
theologians and philosophers on.
Yeah, he's like,
He is an agnostic now. Yeah.
but he says he is. I think he's sort of like, I like Alex. I don't think that he's being greedy. I just think that he likes what he's doing. I think he really enjoys.
I mean, for sure. I think he's becoming a dualist.
But I think that he's
if he isn't one already.
He's a little crowd captured. Like, he's very beloved. Like, there's a lot of Christians.
I don't think he's a dualist. He flirts with it.
I think he's becoming one. And I, as I said to people before, I know plenty of atheists that are dualists. I really don't see a,
Well, I think that he likes to make himself appear as a non-resistant non-believer.
That's true. That is true. Certainly a while ago.
I think he really does want to believe in a God sometimes. I don't know. Maybe he's just acting like it.
I think I don't know. It's really difficult to judge somebody on these things because there's clearly, a factor about how good it is for his channel to be that way. So,
sure.
But I trust him. So I trust what he says.
Well, I don't think he's disingenuous in the way of he's just a straightforward grifter. I think he does enough research and. Since he's left and finished his theological degree, it seems to me he's investigated many philosophical positions, and he's really tried to take that seriously. And I think some of the or the ones, I should say, the philosophical young men that he's spoken to, the ones he's kept hanging around with. Are the agnostic ones. So not that Joe Schmidt isn't not that he doesn't hang around with Joe Schmidt, but he certainly doesn't do much in the way of chat, whatever YouTube stuff anymore with him like he was. I think it's mainly that Bolly channel that he does. I don't remember the guy's name. He's also very good, but again, excellent philosophers. I also want to say one thing for Alex. He has impeccable taste when it comes to talking to, when it comes to the people that he chooses to talk to, right? At least on our side of the fence, anyway, the non.
Yeah, I was gonna say when he talks to Hitchens' brother, that's one of my favorite ones.
Right.
That was unfortunate, but he's a bit staunch like that.
Yeah, Christopher Hitchens' brother, he must have been so proud of him. Hitchens must have been so proud of him. He throws the biggest temper tantrum ever was. Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, they didn't talk for years and years. And they fell out when they were kids.
I saw why. I was like, damn, your brother must have been so proud of you. But
yeah, well, it's that older brother limelight thing, you know what I mean? Older brother just got all the breaks, and if only Peter Hitchens had the breaks, But
so I think there's something that's going on with Alex O'Connor that when he doesn't think that a particular answer can reasonably you can't come to a reasonable conclusion. He keeps kind of thumping on that vein, and he won't move off of that. And even to the deficit of covering multiple subjects that they're maybe scheduled to cover. So this happened very recently again with Mr. Lobar Bill, where they were talking about the cosmological kalam subject, and they were supposed to move to several different subjects. But Alex was very much continuing to dig down, so to speak, in the position of the cosmological kalam, and they wound up doing it for the whole show. And I think this happened again with Peter Hitchens, specifically on the subject of drugs and these kind of slippery slope arguments and all of these other poorly formed arguments that were, he was just getting agitated with staying on the subject, and Alex can stay on one subject for the entire show. That's no problem with him whatsoever.
Yes.
Well, Hitchens did write a book about drugs. So, like, he obviously likes talking about it. I don't know why he acted like it was a topic that he hated, since he had written a book on it. But
I think he'd got bored of trying to defend the position because it had been pointed out and thrown back in his face too many times that the slippery slope argument is just not a very good argument. Full stop.
I will say, Alex says all the time, like, he thinks one of the best arguments is the fine tuning argument.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people say that, and I think that shows me at some point that, I mean, I say it from time to time as well. If we're going to talk about it, I'll say, well, of course, people say that this is the best one. Like, even though it's terrible. But I think that basically comes from Sean Carroll, who said that.
I mean, I think it looks kind of, to me, though, I've started framing it, looking at it like it's almost an argument against God. Like,
yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I see it the opposite. The fact that life arose in a place where life can arise didn't take anything supernatural. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
If people were living on Mercury and just as we are right now, then that would be evidence of maybe some supernatural intervention. I think maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know. I think that might always be a contradiction in terms, as far as if we did arise on Mars, then we definitionally could have arose on Mars. So that might be a little circular, but I'll extend it to this. If we're looking at everything that we have built and we have some purpose on, like if I make a house, I mean, at best, I'm going to have 10, 15% waste products on what it is that I was intending to build. So I might have a lot of throwaway wood, a lot of throwaway roofing, a lot of throwaway tiles, but it's not going to be more than 10 or 15% of the total amount that I sunk into the project of what my intention was. Whereas if we're talking about all of the universes that are completely devoid of life, like we're talking about 99.999% is throwaway, and this one little thing produced life and didn't really need all of that for that life to happen, then this seems like this is just tremendously excessive garbage. So it doesn't look designed at all.
God got he got tweaking and just started making little solar systems all over the place. Couldn't stop.
Yeah. So Alex, Robin's argument, which I like, this argument actually is slightly different to that, Robin. It's slightly different, Robert, because if God could have created life under any kind of conditions, so why make it under conditions that imply that God doesn't exist or God is hidden? It's part of the hidden God argument more than the fine-tuning argument, but it runs the same.
Well, I mean, and Robert, I said for
instance, he could have just created this one galaxy, like you're saying, Robert.
Yeah.
Well, absolutely.
Right? And then, then we would need other galaxies under the naturalistic idea because of the chemicals that made up this galaxy.
Maybe Satan made all the other galaxies.
I mean, you can ad hoc it to death, and of course you're going to find an answer there, and that is what Christian apologists tend to do. I will say that. So
it just seems more similar to, amongst a billion rocks, finding a particular rock in that crowd that you like and you have preference for that rock, and saying, "Wow, all of these rocks entirely must have been made just for this one rock that I prefer and like." It seems ridiculous at some point.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Profligate, I believe, is the phrase that I would use there.
Yeah.
God is extremely profligate when it comes to making universes.
Yeah, he didn't even make us a whole planet we could live on.
We
can't even live on half of our planet. So he didn't even get the whole ball.
Well, that's the other thing. If he's made all of this one, why wouldn't he make 500 million galaxies, or 10 to the 500 galaxies. In which case, we're back to, well, fine tuning doesn't make an argument for God at all.
No.
If it's possible that God could have made 10 to the 500. So.
And we don't know like how far off but they say sometimes though that if like this number was different and that number different. I've learned from talking to Chase, teaches physics at night, that there is quite a bunch of leeway with like a lot of those constants too. Like and like we get close, like, there's over 1 million miles of range between like our orbit, how close we get to the sun.
Mm-hmm.
So like there's a whole lot of there's a lot of like cushion, like margin of error in some of those things.
Yeah, but when physicists talk about these fine tuning arguments, they're talking about fundamental units. They're not talking about things like how the elliptical orbit of a planet.
Yeah,
so,
but
that's just Christians being ignorant when they say things like that.
Well, are we getting closer to the sun? We just burn it.
Robin, I don't want to slow things down if you want to move the video forward, but
let's not talk about fine tuning till we get there.
No,
I've got several things, but
I was fixing to say the gentleman on the side here that was making some proclamations that are just demonstrably not true.
Well, y'all mod because I can't see chat. I've got the big.
Okay. So I don't have the ability to mod either, but the laws of physics show that God is necessary for the universe to exist. Not only is that just not the case, the universe, these laws or anything that is precursors to these laws may be fundamental without any intelligence. And it even could be the case, even if there is intelligence that is necessary for these laws, it doesn't have to be instilled in one intelligence. So we could have had multiple different intelligence that brought forth different components of the laws, and there's no particular reason that this would be problematic. So for anyone to make this statement, you're not grounding this in anything. It's just an assertion that laws exist, therefore God has to exist, and you're not drawing a line of correlation between the two at all.
That's Rich that's Rich. That's the guy named Rich. Yes, I did not know you were out there, Rich. I'm sorry because I couldn't see chat. So I'm glad you're with us, though. But
you can see it in StreamYard, by the way, Robin.
Well,
you know that.
You
can see the chat in StreamYard if you hit the chat button down.
Well, I'm over here on the other screen running the the screen, like the stream thing. So I have to pop back and forth. So
you can see it in StreamYard. If you go to
I'm over here running the video side.
Oh, I see.
In your 45-minute lecture, I hope that you have more than X exists. We know A, we hypothesize exists so that X can exist, because you're not correlating A with X at all in this conversation. I hope you do some better in the 45-minute lecture. But with that said, I'm ready to move forward.
Yeah, let's go because we want to keep on topic with what they're talking about. So
I'm not to personalize things at the outset, but I think that the agnostic who is exploring religion and engaged in religious arguments is probably clearing the bar at the outset, and then the question becomes, at what point does that become kind of a hamster wheel that you trap yourself in a bit? I do think that the convinced atheist is working against the preponderance of the evidence, and the person who says there's nothing here of interest, in the same way. So the religiously interested agnostic is at least on the right path.
Yeah,
surely.
Well, when talking about reasons to believe in God, you do sort of have this wealth of opportunity because there are arguments everywhere you look. I have sometimes said that I feel like the best argument for God might be the argument for God's existence from the number of arguments for God's existence. It's just so funny that anywhere you look, you can construct some kind of syllogism, right? But in the book, it seems like you kind of really focus on two things as potential.
Yeah, I was going to stop there.
This is what I find. Like, I know he's buttering up his guest, right? But to say that everywhere you look, there seems to be a syllogism. Well, yeah. I mean, it's not difficult to make a fucking valid argument. Right? That gives absolutely nothing and no evidence to, or just because you can make a valid argument doesn't mean that it's sound. It's only the sound ones, right? That can be taken as evidences in favour of the proposition or raise the probability of the proposition. If you have a valid argument which is unsound, that doesn't raise that doesn't raise the likelihood that the proposition is true, right? So just because you can give just because you can give, like, there's everywhere you look there seems to be an argument which is valid, is absolutely nothing. Says nothing about the amount of evidence there is to prove the proposition true. And Alex has just bitten that wholesale and just gone, oh, well, we're not even going to address the fucking idea
Yeah,
that, because valid arguments are evidence, are they, apparently? I
I
don't think
think
they
I
are.
think he's joking. Like I think he kind of trolls with that little thing.
even if you play with this thing, you can't get to a singular. You can't get to a necessary singular. There's just no possible way to do it, and you can't even get to a singularity. God is the one that created the universe. Like you could do this a lot of different ways. By the way, I think a gentleman in the side chat does want to debate me, and he's offering to do it on this channel. Robin, if you're interested, maybe we should set up
Who?
something like that.
Rich? Yeah, he was looking for somebody to debate
Sure.
the origin of the universe with.
Sure, but the point that I'm making here is what you have is you can do a lineage thing. You can say that whatever God created this universe could have still been a part of a chain reaction. That God could have been the Z God in a chain of events, and that there could have been a preceding God that made that God. So you don't even have to do like that God, that there was a previous state before the universe. You can literally do there was a previous God before the God that made the universe. And there's no particular reason to say that there's one God was all that there is as a part of a constant chain. Or you can go the multiplicity way and you can say, okay, there were more than one gods. There were 5 gods that were constant, that were eternal, that were ever existing, and that all of those 5 gods, that they all played parts in creating components of the universe, and they're all fundamentally necessary for everything to come together for the universe to exist. And that like all 5 of them are then necessary and fundamental. And there's no particular reason that you need to zero this down to one God. So not only do you have this problem in the chain reaction, but you also have it in the multiplicity that multiple gods could have made the different components.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's possible. Obviously, some people argue aseity for God. So you want it to be as parsimonious as possible, which means, one.
Yeah, but you're arguing necessary, though, Simon. They're arguing necessary that this is just necessarily the case. And it's not, even if you grant gods, it's still not necessarily the case that there's a singular. It's just not a necessary outcome.
Well, no, but like I'm saying, there's the argument of aseity to suppose that it's more parsimonious to say one than many. But I don't think it's a good argument, Robert. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying that there is that particular argument which has been put forward. And secondly, of course, the issue you're bringing up about necessity is a definitional thing, right? So they literally just say, well, it's defined this way to get around that problem of saying, how can you get to a necessary conclusion, right? And you can't give any inductive argument to get to a necessary being, right? So that they're basically trying to exclude by doing that or they're trying to make the God unfalsifiable, at least through empiricism. And that hasn't always been the case in the religious worldview. But I'm just saying, these are some of the arguments that they put forward when they go to this idea. And Alex again seems to say this guy just like blanket threw out there. Well, there's loads of these arguments, right? I mean, Alex actually said, "Oh, anywhere you look, you can find valid arguments. You can find syllogisms." Right, and yeah, you can make a syllogism about anything, can't you? Like you were saying about fairies at the bottom of the garden, right? That's why Alex is an atheist, is an agnostic. It's because the fairies at the bottom of his garden tell him every night when he's asleep
Yeah, I don't. Just before the gentleman leaves, are you preferable to Saturdays, or are you amendable to other weekend days? I prefer to not do it on a weekday, if I'm to be honest.
I think he may be gone. I don't know. I have his
Okay.
email though.
Yeah, email him, and yeah,
I
if
know
you
he
could,
does.
I'm interested in doing so on weekends more so than anything.
Yeah,
I don't
he-
mind doing it either before or after the show that I do on a Sunday, or I could do it on a Saturday. But I'm not much for a weekday, if I'm to be honest.
No, he works too, like every day. Rich does, so he doesn't like real late times either. So he's kind of like you. He's not a up all nighter
Good.
guy.
Good.
But okay. Y'all
So
ready?
yeah, again, so that's the second point of Alex. This is the second time Alex has done that. Now I appreciate it's at the beginning of this conversation. This guy's a Catholic, right? So
Yes.
he's unlikely to use the transcendental argument for God, but he certainly implied it off the go, and he's not been called on any of his bullshit so far. So we'll see. We'll
He's
see
letting
how
out
far
he's letting out a lot of rope. Let's just assume that Alex is letting out a lot of rope for now.
Yeah, too much rope, you know.
Yes. He
We'll
does.
see. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, but you don't need to repeat the rope back to him and say, "Oh yeah, what about this rope over here? Have this rope." You know what I mean? I think the best argument is the number of arguments. You know what the fuck?
I've heard him say that before, and I think that's kind of funny, though. I forgot that he says that. I don't think that he finds that actually convincing. He is like
No.
he's saying all of them are bad, but like let's see, what is it? I
No,
think
well,
he
no,
realizes
no.
though that the multiple of experience or whatever it is, antidote is not evidence. There you go.
Yeah. Well, also, you know, like a million flies eat shit, but it doesn't mean we should. Billions. Anyway, look, that's all right. I'm just saying, I think it's poor taste. He could have just let all of that go, and just say, okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, he doesn't need to say, oh, I think the best argument is not fine tuning. I think it's the sheer quantity of arguments for God, and like he's not even defining what type of arguments, right? Because this guy's only talking about a priori arguments so far. He's not talking about a posteriori arguments at all. And Alex is saying, well, everywhere you look. So that means you look first. So he's presumably pointing at evidential arguments.
Jill says that we don't exist because of the sheer number of arguments against us.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah,
love
thank you.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Arguments make things exist and unexist. There you go.
it.
It's just
to
definitional,
natural
isn't it?
theology. One of them being the like orderliness and apparent design of the universe, and the other being consciousness.
Apparent design.
I'm more interested in the second generally, but both of these are important to me. And I suppose I kind of wanted to probe your reasons for thinking that these are meaningful cases, and then also why it leads to the particular conclusion that you've given them. I suppose maybe it might be good to start with the mind stuff, just because that's what I'm interested in.
1.25.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just a little too fast for me.
Okay, I was gonna say Alex is pretty slow, but okay.
Yeah, 2.5 at best.
I listen slowly too, actually.
Consciousness is clearly a mystery, and I think that when you speak to most atheists, you might rub up against a kind of materialist, emergentist. Oh, consciousness is just something science hasn't explained. It will get there one day. I'm not like that. I think consciousness needs to be taken seriously. I think that consciousness is probably more ubiquitous and foundational than people typically give it credit for. But I want to know why it is that you think that the mystery of consciousness and the experience of human consciousness points to something more like God.
Well, first, I'm not sure which point should come first, actually, but I would say you start with the mystery itself, right? And I mean, one of the questions that sort of attends religious debate is, does the supernatural...
Yeah.
No, I think he's saying you start with the mystery of the consciousness.
Yeah, and then you explain what
I
the
don't think
mystery
he
is.
implied anything in there.
Then you slot God straight in there.
Sure. I mean, put him in right away.
One mystery deserves another mystery.
A bigger mystery, in fact.
Two mysteries make an answer.
This sounds a lot like when you see the can, you kick the can.
Yeah, there you go. What else would you do? Yeah. And if you have to drink the can first and then throw it on the ground in order to kick it, do that.
There you go. If y'all don't know, we're talking about kicking the can arguments.
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, let's carry on. I mean,
Exist, meaning right to do, and there's a million ways to define the supernatural that we're not going to resolve here today. But I try in the book to work with kind of folk definitions, common sense definitions, right? And there it would just mean, does something exist that does not appear to?
I just want to say I always love when conservatives use the term common sense. Just
be simply contained in a materialist description of the world. And consciousness is when you get into those arguments, people sort of move quickly to.
Yeah, well, this man believes that he eats a cracker and a glass of wine, and it turns into the flesh and blood of Jesus Christ. But he wants to bring up common sense in the same conversation.
Yeah, the cognitive dissonance of Catholics is quite astounding, and also
and conservatives.
Especially the right-wing Catholics. You know what they're famous for in history, but I think also my issue here really is that he's going to find every which way to say, and not talk about the history of the Bible and the tradition, right? Let's face it, that's why he really believes, because he was born into a Catholic family.
We don't know that yet.
Yeah, we know that. Most Catholics, right? They're already indoctrinated by the time they're 4 or 5, and they get given wine, right? So they like that. And as much as I like to say that it's not wine anymore, it's still giving it a minor wine. So I think that's some kind of abuse right there. And then secondly, telling them that they're going to go to hell if they don't accept the dogma that's being forced upon them, right? And then describing what hell is, that's never good.
Yeah, and they have to go to school. They had school though. Like all my Catholic friends had extra school, because they had to actually go to religion class, which like a couple of my buddies got kicked out of religion class. So they they were not good Catholics. They got booted from religion class.
Yeah. So there's a funny guy, Dave Allen, who's an Irish comedian, and one of his stories is about going to his first school when he was very, very young, of course. So it's like a nursery school. Got sent to the nursery school at the local church, and he went up and he described it. It's like a big, church-like building with these double doors at the front. He goes up and knocks on the door, and a nun answers the door and opens the door and starts giving him a lecture about being a good Catholic boy, and says, look, so if you decide to come in here, you've got to be a good Catholic boy. You've got to do this. You've got to do that. Starts talking about Catholicism in general, and she basically wags a finger at him and says, so are you going to be a good Catholic boy? And he said he looked up and saw Jesus on the cross and thought, well, if that's what they fucking do to you if you don't believe them, yeah, of course I am.
Yeah, I said, do you love God? He said, yes, I love him.
Yeah,
because she told him, if you don't love God, he will burn you in hell forever. She said, do you love God? He said, yes, I love him.
Yeah.
But and he said, who killed him? They said, you killed him. He died for your sins. He said, what the fuck? I'm only 4 years old, man. I just got here.
I was anyway. Hey, let's move.
Yeah,
on.
Dave Allen is great. He's awesome. Yeah, I love him.
Do ghosts exist? Do miracles exist? Near-death experiences, are those real? And I talk about those things in the book. Those are also important to my argument. But my basic view is that there's a form of supernatural experience that is it's easy to miss it because it's right here in front of our eyes. Like you and I are in a particular way.
Wonder if he mentions the jinn or the fairies, Robert. Wonder if he mentions your fairies.
I don't know, man. It depends. Was he taught fairies at the age of 4 also in this Catholic school?
But he's going to do all the other what leprechauns?
Then I'm going to go with no.
There's so many people, so many magical beings that you are being discriminating against.
Yeah, there is that as well. But they have one special magical friend, and he turns out to be a bit duplicitous because he turns out to be 3. But if you read the book later on, it's 3.
I
Starts out
remember
as 1.
multiple personality disorder.
Yeah, I remember watching. I believe is a British comedian, and I'll have to find his name. But he made a joke to a gentleman in the crowd that had just become an electrician, or he was following his electrician father that was teaching him. And he's like, "So do you know how electricity works yet?" And the 18, 19-year-old guy's like, "No, not really." And then he was joking along, and he came back to him, and he's like, "What the hell do you know? You already said you don't know how it works. For all you know, fucking pixies could move the electricity up and down the wires." And the guy was just like, "Yeah, I don't know." So I thought it was a funny analogy that, like, if we don't know a particular thing, would we insert some kind of agency in another field? Such as, if we don't know how electricity works, would it be natural to say, "Oh, well, pixies must therefore do this thing"? And I think this gentleman is to some degree saying, if when we see the universe and we see that it exists and we don't understand how it come to be, should we make propositions that there is this agency? And he thinks it's natural, and I don't think it's as natural as he thinks it is.
No.
Absolutely. I mean, also, that's a good point, because, like, I think it might have been Ricky Gervais, by the way, but I think, like with this guy, you can see already that he's hedging. Right, when Alex is putting some of the questions, he's saying, right, well, there are several points here, and my first point is lame, right, and I'm sure the second one is going to be lame as well, right? So he's saying, look, and there's NDEs, right? We know that that's a thing. Right, but do we?
No.
Do we? Is that just not for ignorance as well?
It's a thing like fairies.
Exactly. So, like, are you a neuroscientist? I don't think you are. So, just go back to your fucking presup shit, right? Go back to your a priori arguments for a necessary God, and just leave the fuck alone. I mean, have you even found the 10 issues yet? That's what I want to know.
He should write. Actually, he should go back to writing about his stupid political party that he supports, that elected a pedophile president and shit. Is what he should do.
Well, he's Catholic, so
I know, but like,
he's consistent. I'll give him that.
Yeah, he's part of the problem too. Yeah. What was I going to say? There was something you said that I was going to say that reminded me of something. I don't even remember what it was now. Never mind.
I'm sorry.
Dara O'Brien was the comedian that I was referring to.
Oh, really?
Joke. Yeah.
Dara O'Brien. Okay. Okay. Oh, the pixie joke, not the electricity.
Yes,
joke.
The pixie
having
joke.
supernatural
the electricity being carried by
right.
pixies.
Okay, yeah.
Conan.
Hmm? Yeah.
Conan O'Brien.
No.
Dara. He's an Irish comedian.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's
Just in communicating with one
Irish
another,
accent.
we are sort of sharing thoughts, hopefully, depending on how the conversation goes, that are very, very difficult to reduce to physical descriptions of sound waves traveling from my mouth to your ears and back and forth. Very difficult to reduce to brain mapping and neurons firing, even if you can sort of reduce them to localities and say, oh, this part of the conversation activates that.
This guy is just totally mesmerized by speech and language.
Yeah, well, like he's saying, and also, it's a necessary being, and he's saying it's very difficult to reduce it. Well, it might be very difficult, but that doesn't give you any reason to believe that something necessary exists. That's just an argument. It's a God of the gaps. He literally is giving a God of the gaps argument. And when he says, look, speech, even if you do it, it's very difficult to reduce that. Right? Well, it's not difficult to reduce it. No, firstly. That in neuroscience has been pretty much covered now. It's very difficult to be an eliminativist about it, which is basically what you need in order to say physicalism or materialism is necessarily true. But then not a lot of people say necessarily true in that respect when it comes to the other side. Right? There are only a few philosophers, Dennett, etc., etc. Right? So, but I don't think it's if you're talking about likelihoods of evidence, right, which is surely what we must be talking about, right, which is more likely. No, there's enough work has gone on in the last 15 years in neuroscience to show that consciousness is more than likely brain in terms of physical evidence, and showing particular neurons in particular parts of the brain do in fact have correlation, strong correlation, to particular functions that carry out in our thoughts.
Yeah.
So there's no reason to believe that it's an unknown and a hard problem anymore. It's only a hard problem when it comes to eliminativism. Go ahead.
Yeah. I wanted to add to that this. If y'all haven't watched Star Talk, you should watch the Star Talk episode with David Chalmers. And if you don't know who David Chalmers is the individual that wrote and kind of defined the problem of the hard problem. But while he was on Star Talk talking with Neil deGrasse Tyson, Neil just asked him outright. He said, "So where do you think consciousness comes from?" And David Chalmers, without hesitation, said, "Oh, it's in the brain." And there was just a laugh. Like, so yeah, he recognizes that in some sense it's a hard problem that we're not able to define or show that it's happening. But does the individual that coined the term and has written the book and the problem of the hard problem, yeah, he totally thinks it's in the brain.
Yes, because just like the guy that said the God particle and the mitochondrial Eve, and yeah, all that. I love you. Thank you for confusing creationists.
Yeah. That's science. They don't think about it because, of course, they don't think about God when they're actually doing the science. So, when it comes to naming shit.
But this guy right here, this is like argument from personal incredulity, is just what he's making. Like, I don't know anything about neuroscience, and so there must be a God.
Yeah, well, no, he's going on literature which is outdated. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He's not done any of the modern research, it seems to me. Because if
we
he
know
had,
how speech works, and we know how our mind processes it, and yeah, I don't know why he's so mesmerized about the speech.
Because he made these arguments ages ago, and he's got a book to sell. That's why he's bringing up NDEs, right? NDEs have nobody takes NDEs seriously anymore. Why? Well, because we've done a lot of work on how the brain gets restored from unconsciousness to consciousness, what people do when they're asleep, what people are like when they're under anesthetic. The field of anesthetics has moved on tremendously in the last 30 years to how it was before, when people used to just go, right, and I know if we give this particular drug, the person's going to be out, and I know it depends on quantity. Right. Now they can be a lot more concise about the anesthetics they give these days, about how they work, what nerves they can knock out. They can keep you conscious while knocking out particular parts of your what do they call it, spinal column or whatever, your central nervous system. So, I mean, it's a lot more sophisticated than it used to be, and I'm sure this guy doesn't. He doesn't look like. Well, he looks like he's gonna have a heart attack soon, but I'm sure he hasn't had one and been in and found out how amazing anaesthetists are these days, and what a skilled job it is, and how the different drugs interact with each other, and what they can do.
It's a run-on sentence, Robin. Just play when you're ready.
Okay, yeah, run-on sentence. I was just gonna say, there was something else that he was saying. Oh, like there is one person, Tava. I went on Tavo's channel the other night on his Ask Atheist thing, and actually he argued with me about NDEs. So there are some people who still kind of accept those.
Yeah, part of Alex's brain and so on. There is this really profound, as you yourself, I think, would agree, difficult to bridge philosophical chasm between the materialist description and what seems to happen to human beings in conscious experience. And I think that alone sort of, at the very least, sets up a question, which is, in a way, what you could say one of the first religious questions is, what is primary, mind
can you
or matter?
Just hold it there.
Right? And we have access to both.
Can you just hold it there a second for
modern.
Yeah, notice he said it seems, right? This is how it seems, right? So seeming, I'm not sure that that's a very philosophical argument. To give a seeming argument is just to give an account of one person's psychology on a particular subject.
And framework.
And so I just don't take any of what he's saying right now as an interesting statement on evidence for the proposition that God exists is true.
I mean, I think that Thomas Aquinas actually had more advanced thoughts about God than this guy does.
Well,
Yeah.
so far, I mean, we haven't heard it all, but
Yeah.
so far, yes. But I just want to say, whenever I say flowers grow, I think there's a seemings. It seems like there's agency behind it. It was in one position, and I see it the next day, and it's in another position. There's seemings. It seems like there's agency involved.
Yeah, especially when like the flowers and the bees all like have like this like shared function where they work together and stuff. Somebody had to have made it to where those two things could actually be in a relationship,
Right.
Yeah.
It seems like it.
Never
Yeah, I
mind.
mean, it seems like to me that the digestive system, has this same property, right? Like, it seems to me that at one moment it's hungry, and the next moment it's shitting.
Yeah,
And like,
Yeah.
does that prove God?
And
God is
and
shit.
and the rectum cuts the turd off like a perfect little turd cutter, and it just
Yeah.
seems like
Yeah.
that's was designed that way.
It's a Ray
does,
Comfort
yeah.
argument right there.
Yeah, and it's always on my front garden as well.
Oh my God, that's
Fucking
pretty shit.
Science and all of its great achievements are founded on prioritizing the study of matter and what matter does and how matter interacts. And it's been a tremendously fruitful project. But the fruits of that project have not contained within them an explanation of mind. And everything that we experience about matter, physicality, touching
Yes,
your
they
knee,
have.
touching the
That's-
table, drinking water,
sorry,
anything else,
Robin,
is itself processed
Yeah.
and experienced through
yeah,
mind.
Robin.
Yeah.
That's just not true, right?
I know.
Like, there
I
are they have come up with ideas about how mind works,
Yes.
right? The difference being here is that it's a very complex part of evolution, right?
Yes.
And therefore it can't be explained in this simple way, right? It's not going to be a simple answer.
And it's
And the
very
fact that-
unethical to work
the
on
fact
human
that-
brains on live people.
And the fact that he doesn't understand any neurology at all, by the looks of it, just means that he's making an argument from incredulity. I don't know how it happened, right? People tell me they don't know how it happened, right? Not mentioning who, right? But there are people that have come up with ideas and theories about it. So it's not that it's not plausible, right? Scientifically plausible. It's just that the evidence is not out yet. In terms of
There's a lot that is, though.
Yeah, I know there is a lot, and there's more now than there is not, right? Which
Yeah.
it should give you at least the idea that it's most likely. Plus, of course, it's parsimonious, so there's actually a priori arguments as well, deductive arguments, which would show that it's more likely to be brain than not brain.
But none of these functions of consciousness that might be able to be parsed out to one specific aspect or area of the brain, even one small area of the brain and what it's contributing to the consciousness is not something that could be fit in a sound bite. Therefore, we don't know. Therefore, God. I mean, this is all I'm really hearing.
And remember, he used the word
unethical.
and remember, he used the word seems at the beginning of all of this. Right, so he's not saying, this is what I think it is. It's not probable, because he doesn't want to be accused of making the God of the gaps argument, which is clearly what he's doing or trying to imply anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all we don't know. Therefore, I get to insert something, or we should. In his case, this is it's break from the traditional, because the traditional is we don't know. Therefore, I get to insert. His is we don't know. Therefore, everyone else should start with believing.
Yeah, I don't know, so nobody does. Like it's also unethical to work to actually like do a lot of things to the human brain on live people. So like that has limited our amount of research that we can do, like at what until we were able to develop different kinds of scans and things. And I think that the brain is probably one of the like I think that it seems like that since it was so maybe so complex that it was left for last, because it was like the hardest part of our biology to understand. But that don't mean that we never will understand it. But
you're absolutely right. I mean, like, and also, you can't. We never had access to the brain before, like modern physics, anyway. So. It's almost impossible to do anything. That's why they discovered all the other body parts first, right? Because they dug up dead people and started doing them. But you dig up a dead person, look in their brain, and it doesn't look like anything because it's not
Yes.
alive. You need to study the brain when it's alive if you're talking about consciousness.
Yes. Yeah, because
So
there's no consciousness when the brain's not alive. So
exactly.
it's really unethical to like be cutting around on brains of live people.
Yeah, I mean, I've said this before, but like for people that are skeptical about consciousness being, being the brain, I like to give my 2x4 argument. I think I've told this to you before, Robert. Whereas if somebody says, "Well, I'm skeptical," I think consciousness is not the brain. Then well, come over here. I'll whack you around the head with a 2x4, and you will lose consciousness. And so, and then when you wake up, I'll fucking beat the shit out of your ankle, and you won't lose consciousness.
Yes,
right? And that tells you something about where the brain is located, where consciousness is located. It might not tell you the answer that you want, right? But it tells you that exactly that the consciousness is located in the brain.
Yes.
So
you may have a near-death experience though.
Yeah, well, there's that as well.
So I was using the bathroom,
right.
but I overheard that. But I just want to say that's presupposing in advance. If you go straight for the head, you're going to need to start at the foot and hit that, and then hit everything else, and then you'll make the proper conclusion once you hit the head.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, I mean that's fine. I'd just like to do it with the head first, just to show them.
They always
just to get it right out of the way.
Every guy I ever fought, every guy that ever hit me in the head. Like, yeah. It's my biggest target.
So I think that's a decent starting place for saying it's at least possible that mind is as fundamental to the universe as matter. And then you sort of move from there.
No, it's
There's a few different directions you might move. Right? One direction.
That is literally just an assertion. That doesn't make it reasonable, right? Just because it seems to be a difficult problem, right? That is just an argument from ignorance.
Well, that's a Travis Pangburn plot.
And then using the argument from ignorance to say, right, well, therefore it seems reasonable to believe that, it could be fundamental.
He said
possible. It is fundamental.
He said possible. Which
fundamental. He said it's fundamental to the universe. It's reason to believe
it's possible that it's fundamental, not reasonable. He did say possible, but like possibility should not play into our.
Go back and play it again.
Yeah,
I think he said that gives you a reason to believe that it's fundamental to the universe.
But I mean, that seems to happen to human beings in conscious experience, and I think that alone, sort of, at the very least, sets up a question, which is, in a way, you could say one of the first religious questions is, what is primary, mind or matter?
Yep.
Right? And we have access to both, and modern science and all of its great achievements are founded on prioritizing the study of matter and what matter does and how matter interacts. And it's been a tremendously fruitful project. But the fruits of that project have not contained within them an explanation of mind. And everything that we experience about matter, physicality, touching your knee, touching the table, drinking water, anything else, is itself processed and experienced through mind.
Yes.
Right? So I think that's a decent starting place for saying it's at least possible that mind is as fundamental to the universe as matter.
Well,
okay.
And then you sort of move from there.
So he did say possible. Yeah, I'll grant you that.
Thank you.
And that's just another weasel world. Right?
Yeah.
So he's just backing away from. He's just making a claim and then backing away from it straight away, going, "Well, I only said possible. I didn't say
plausible."
But I think if you say it's possible, yeah, logically possible, I suppose, right? We should just say it has such a small influence or a small amount of evidence for the truth of the conclusion that it's next to nothing, as far as I'm concerned.
It produces no contradiction.
That's right. Yeah.
Also, Leo Filius mentioned over here that matter is not fundamental, though fields are fundamental. And I think this is now the modern consensus of physicists that matter is not fundamental. But I think this has been a long time kind of the position, because we kind of think that energy in some sense was primary before that, and that's just a previous or a different state of matter. Now we just think the fields are probably primary. But
yeah, I don't know. It could go either way, as far as
I do want to say hello, Leo, and hello to Scott out there. Scott would disagree with us. Scott is an idealist. from Mirror Point, and actually Scott would argue with us about this.
Sure.
But, yeah.
Yeah, but anyway. But again, I think if you say, yeah, it's possible, what kind of possibility are you invoking there? That's a problem. Right, so he's not defining his terms again. Seeming, he used the word seem, of course, like we've already said. So it seems possible, right? As well, is that logically possible, epistemically possible, or what kind of possibility are you talking about? Physically possible? You know?
Non-logically contradictory.
Common sense possible.
Yeah, that's not a thing. But yeah, that's fine.
That's not a thing.
Thank you. I agree. But I hear about it a lot from them. All right, let's start this today.
There's a few different directions you might move, right? One direction might be to take the kind of panpsychist perspective, which is probably what you're gesturing at by saying you think consciousness may be all over the place, right?
Right.
The dryads who were hewn, is this real wood or fake? Anyway, if dryads were harmed in the making of this object, they might be listening to us right now, right? I think if you make the panpsychist move and say that consciousness is sort of a widespread property, that already takes you in a religious direction, because then it becomes very unlikely that you and I, our instantiation of consciousness is the highest and most powerful and most important in the universe. Not impossible, right? But it seems a bit unlikely. So even I would say it's a very swift movement from panpsychism to pantheism, right? And then you're already in the terrain not of Western Christianity, but of certain Eastern religions and so on, right? And
I like it. That's unlikely, but God is very likely. Okay. Yeah.
Well, what?
Yeah, I don't understand why he's saying it's already getting you in the direction of religion. Like just to think that consciousness might be fundamental and that matter in the traditional sense that we think of matter as an external thing, that's not what's going on. While I totally disagree with idealism, and for many different reasons, I don't think that like subscribing to that gets you anywhere in the direction of religion particularly.
Yeah, Scott is a non-dualist idealist, so he's an atheist.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who's Scott? The mirror point. Okay. Yeah. That's fine. Let Leo have him. I'm not particularly interested in it. I'm not interested in idealism at all. Dualism, there's no good arguments for dualism, which aren't, as far as I'm aware, then the atheists that I've spoken to, or the philosophers that I've spoken to that are atheists and dualists, say there are no good arguments for it. And at best, you should be agnostic to dualism. So I don't see any good ideas.
It's a minority. I mean, it is a minority philosophy position also, but there's a lot of reasons. But that's a whole episode as to why I have problems with it.
But like I will say, Alex points this out here in a minute and tells him that he does not think that this going this route right here is actually helps at all. He thinks that it actually is counterintuitive to the belief in a God, like to believe that.
You could get from there to Christianity through various modifications. You could be a panentheist, and then the next thing you're saying the Hail Mary or something, right?
So I hadn't finished yet.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right. So, so the point is that I think dualism in itself is best left to agnosticism. And certainly the top philosophers I've read on that subject seem to be, seem unable to make. They make valid arguments, but I don't think that they're sound arguments. They all seem to have some idea of begging the question in most of them. Most of the arguments that I've ever read, like Belgrami's, etc. So I'm not convinced about that for sure. However, because this guy is already, said there's an obligation here, right? Then he's desperate to try and point that out, and yet his language here is not one of saying, well, I think dualism is true because X, Y, Z. Right? He's not giving anything like that. He's not even saying that he knows that there are, he knows of deductive arguments that show the truth of the dualism point. Right. So, again, I'm just extremely skeptical that this guy I think he's poor on both philosophy and science, which means like I predicted right at the beginning, we are going to end up at the church's tradition. And we're relying heavily on that as the reason why there is an obligation. So, yeah.
Wait a minute. Are you suggesting that every Catholic that we talk to are ultimately going to bring us back around to why the Catholic Church is right?
No, only if no, they're going to give that argument only if they're not very good on philosophy and they're not very good on science.
What about the Shroud of Turin, though? What about that?
Yeah, that's
Have
obviously
you
a fake.
considered the Shroud of Turin?
I have, yes.
Oh, I haven't thought of that. What is that?
Yeah. Now there was a program. There was a program in the 80s. I think it was the 80s, where they did the Catholics again went in. They assembled a team of scientists, and some of them weren't. There was 3 universities that conducted, and one of them was like Cambridge, I think maybe. And they all got given a piece and told to date the shroud, and they all came back with different dates, and it was all a bit of a shithole. But then one of the universities, again, I think it was Oxford actually, did a deep dive onto it, and they actually came up with a method of how you could recreate exactly the picture on the shroud using technology of the time, which is what, I don't know, 12th century.
And some
Well,
people
there's a few different ways.
Some people have actually said that that they found DNA that only had 23 chromosomes on it.
Yeah,
it's just bullshit. Yeah, Dan McClellan covered this also. One of the gentlemen that made a lot of these proclamations, and Dan McClellan pointed out that the major problem is that there's no chain of custody in the threads of the gentleman that's writing the book on this. And what I mean by chain of custody, he acts as if he had possession of some component of the shroud, and there's no documented evidence that he even come into possession of it. So he's making proclamations that he tested and came to these things, and we don't think he even had possession of it.
And for some reason, the Catholic Church won't let us do it again.
Well,
yeah, I don't. It doesn't matter to me either way, right? In the 80s, they did a thorough thing, and they were quite open about a lot of it, the findings as well, and they came to the conclusion that it was fake, right? And this is, these are mainly, and it was mainly a Catholic project, right? But because they had non-Catholics on there as well, obviously they had to try and be as scientifically rigorous as possible. And I think that one of the things they did come to the conclusion was that the shroud itself was a lot older than the 11th century, first of all, 12th century, sorry. And so there was some point about that, and it was certainly the weave was similar to first century Middle Eastern weaves, Egyptian weaves. So there's the possibility there, but that the dating of the repairs was subsequently so late, and of the little that there was there, that they could date that didn't show it. The blood was fake, number one, so that wasn't a true part either. And also the size of the picture when laid out flat was not human.
Yeah, I mean, what blood type Jesus was anyway? Had to be old. It has to be old.
Well, I mean, he didn't have a father, so he was XX chromosome.
They only had 23 chromosomes.
That was Tom Rabbitt's argument.
Yeah.
He didn't have a father, so he had no Y chromosome, so he was XX,
Unless
so he was
did.
female, and yet he went around calling himself a man. So
nowadays.
so Jesus was transgender.
Yes, and like the conservatives would deport him, like, for being trans. Yes. Yeah.
That's one movement you could make. Another movement is through the highly provisional but also highly suggestive things that we observe in the weird zones of modern science, right? In quantum physics in particular, right? In the apparent evidence that is highly contested and debatable, but sort of there nonetheless, right? That there is some kind of interaction between consciousness and matter, where the observer, the sort of perception, measurement, and sort of conscious awareness seems to collapse contingencies into actualities.
Yeah.
So, did anybody have on their bingo card that he was going to misinterpret the observer effect?
Oh,
No,
no,
I didn't think
sorry.
of it. It's pretty
Sorry about
common
that.
these days, though.
I actually found out the other day, though, that there is actually, and I can't remember what it is. I'm sure Leo can tell us that, like, we have actually discovered now that on the at the quantum level, that actually sometimes the effect happens before the cause.
There's some videos on that, and I'm not sold on it. I'm gonna be honest.
But we'll see. Like, this is what, like, some, like, I think Chase, like my friend Chase, that we at night, that he's physics. I think that but Leo, have we found that's on the quantum level that the effect can happen before the cause? So we'll see. Leo can answer any question about physics, I think.
Also, did he misinterpret the observer effect by thinking that the observer effect is what we see? Is that what you're talking about? Is that what he just implied?
Well, like he's. I think that is what he's saying. That there's got to be if there's an observer that affects the
Right. Gotcha.
the interaction. Yeah, they always get that messed up.
If there's an observer effect, therefore there must be an observer. Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
Yes.
It's that kind of thing.
Yeah. If there's a building, there's got to be a builder, and if there's a, that kind of thing.
Yes.
Right. Which is certainly not something that scientists in 1847 or 1877 would have confidently expected, and very smart scientists have been trying to wrestle their way out of that interpretation. But that's there. It's interesting, and again, it is the kind of thing you would expect if mind were sort of important, primary, and meaningful. And it connects you again to religion and religious arguments in various ways. The simplest way would be to say, well, the kind of interactions that our minds have with matter that sort of take possibility and create actuality are perhaps analogous to the larger way in which God sustains the cosmos at any given moment, right?
Okay, yeah, the observer effect doesn't have to actually be a mind that is the observer too.
It's not, and that's why we use machines.
Yeah. Retrocausality is not observed in quantum mechanics, but events that occur in, oh my gosh, what is that word?
Indeterministically.
Oh my God, good job, Simos. That is awesome that you could say that word.
That's all right.
That's too many syllables for a Kentucky girl right there.
All of these actualities are made actual by the mind of God, right? Which again takes you to a form of classical theism. So that's another line you could follow. And then the last one, there are more, but one that I think is this argument appeals to me, although it doesn't appeal to everyone, and lots of people find it sort of hard to follow. Not hard to follow, but don't find it intuitive and think that I make too much of it. But I think it's very notable that there appears to be this very strong connection between the capacities of our consciousness and the overall structure of the universe, right? So you mentioned, arguments from design and so on, right?
Let's hear it, yeah.
Which are very, very familiar to your audience, maybe tediously familiar, right? But what's interesting is not just that we have certain evidences that the universe is fine-tuned in various ways or structured in various ways to allow for the emergence of stars, planets, and ultimately human life. That's sort of perhaps evidence of power reaching down. But then the power of our consciousness also reaches back up. We have been able, at step after step and level after level, to understand and fathom the larger structure in which we find ourselves. And you could say from an evolutionary perspective, well, that's just what you'd expect.
Okay. Like, yes, we have gotten more intelligent, especially ever since we learned to write shit down so that, like, the next generation can actually build off of our knowledge. But, and we learned the scientific method. But I don't think that we have any power to do any shit up in the, like, sit there and look at your ceiling and see if you can make anything move.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm still not getting how he's getting to that we have to necessarily come to these conclusions. Like, he's getting into the fairly complex weeds that the average person doesn't even know anything about, especially when we're talking about like fundamental things or consciousness or states of consciousness. The average person doesn't even think on this. So, and are they compelled to, that they're necessarily and have to think about these things? I think all of us would agree that no. They don't. So I'm not sure why, if this is what he's grounding it in, that we kind of have to necessarily come to this conclusion. Otherwise, we're intellectually dishonest or something. I just think it's so far
Well,
it's a crap argument.
yeah, I mean, he's not. He hasn't made an argument there. He's literally just made a word salad.
Yes.
And if we were to go back and listen to that again, he literally would just be saying nothing.
Gish galloping.
Well, he's not even gish galloping.
At a real
He's
slow
literally
pace, though.
he's just saying nothing, right? I mean, he's literally saying, "Oh, look, God reaches down to us." So I mean, that was his first thing. But then we also reach up. Oh, surprise, surprise! He's a fucking Catholic.
What does he?
Right?
What if he thinks
That's what Catholics believe. They believe you can't get to God. God gets to you, but you can help God. Right? That's the Catholic viewpoint, as opposed to the Protestant viewpoint, which is, or the Calvinists say, which is you can't do anything to reach God. God has to reach you.
I'm curious if he's ever going to address a multiplicity. Like if you just, instead of getting to a god, like if you got to multiple gods, like the Egyptians or some other culture, would that be just like necessary that you got to multiple gods? Right?
He thinks that would be an improvement, but he thinks that you would I mean, like that's what he told Alex. Like he thinks that any kind of like anything that moves your brain to where it will accept stuff that you don't have evidence for is an improvement in his mind.
Yeah.
Like anything that you can accept that would require some sort of supernatural accepting of stuff that there's no evidence for, then he just said that while ago. That gets you in the right direction.
It's starting to sound a lot more like any explanation is better than no explanation.
Yes.
Just as a preferential position.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
very, very, very presuppositional of him. But again, like sometimes it's different. I don't think he is a presupper, by the way, but because he's Catholic, he doesn't have to be because he can rely on church tradition, and this is what it appears to me. The more he speaks on these topics, the more I think, yeah, but he's just repeating, Catholic dogma, right?
It's hard to believe this man wrote a book. An apology.
I know it's never difficult to believe that religious people write books. It's never.
I mean, because like he is though, like he's a D thinker. Like what I mean? Like
absolutely.
I think I run into lots of theists on YouTube that have actually spent more time thinking about the arguments than this guy has.
Well, to be fair, there's everything in between Shakespeare and a coloring book. I mean, anyone can write.
Absolutely, yeah. Oh my goodness!
Yeah, but
you don't need crayons to read Shakespeare.
And he wrote for the New York Times.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Like, I'm not saying he's not a writer, but like what I'm saying to you is he's a theologian.
Yes,
he's not a philosopher, right? He's not a scientist. He has little idea about these topics. Clearly, all the science that he has read is probably years ago by now, if he's still talking about Chalmers' hard problem. Right? It means he hasn't read Dennett for a start. Not that Dennett's an easy read.
Or Robert Sapolsky.
Yeah. Absolutely. So like there's lots of shit here, right? He's probably never engaged with Jordan Peterson, even. Right? So, and even Jordan Peterson could argue this guy into a fucking paper bag.
Let's go a little further. I'm ready.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Hey, we're going to have a hard stop at 9, y'all, because BS is going to be streaming, so.
All right. Well,
y'all
let's get a little more under the belt then.
Y'all going to have to go do your homework and watch it on your own time after a while.
Because we evolve reason to dodge panthers. Reason is very useful to predict when predators are going to attack us. And then it turns out also to be useful for figuring out how to split the atom and, figure out Newton and Einstein's laws and everything else. And that's where... that's where sort of this disagreement that I don't always get over with people lies. I don't think there's any necessary reason at all why you would expect a faculty that evolves to enable survival in, whatever the early hominid environment is to also unlock so many secrets of the cosmos and enable us to do.
Right. So, no, it's not that we evolved reason so we could stab saber-toothed tiger. That we were stabbing saber-toothed tigers a long time before we became human. Right, so that's just fucking bullshit, and again, ignorance of the science, right? And then, it just so happens that we can work out quantum mechanics during the same process. No, that's not what happens either, right? It's not reason that allowed us to do that, right? It's the articulation of balance that allowed us to do that, right? That's because it literally comes before reason, before hominids were reasoning in the sense that we now know it today, right?
Yeah.
It's through the processes of understanding, firstly mathematics, then philosophy, and then generalizations, right? Geometry, etc. And then the long process of going through Plato and Aristotle, and learning about logic, and then perfecting that logic in terms of induction, which didn't happen until really the Arabs got hold of it in the 800s, right?
Yeah, I
So
think he might,
you-
Simos, to be fair to
okay.
him, I think he might have more so met the processes of the brain that gives us reasons, not the external things and processes, the standards of methodology that we now use today.
Yeah, but when we were stabbing saber-toothed tiger, we didn't have that.
Sure. I'll grant you that.
Like
We
I'm
did
gonna
not
say
have
though,
that. So it's still
like-
bullshit either way. That's what I'm saying, right?
Well,
It's,
we've
it's
been
and
making-
to relate quantum mechanics to stabbing saber-toothed tigers is just frankly a stupid
I know,
argument.
but we've been making tools like reason. We use
Mhm.
reason to make tools, and like chimpanzees make.
No, we don't.
tools.
No,
We don't use
It's-
reason
it's-
to make
it's not-
tools.
No, it's not reason that does it. It's behavior that does it. Right? If I do X, then such and such happens. Right? That's
but
not
the
us.
first
That's
person-
not us. Hang on.
The first person who
Hang
makes
on,
a
hang on,
smart
hang on,
thing
hang on.
doesn't know
If
that
I do X, then Y happens, right? If I hit a stick with a stone, right, then it becomes a more effective weapon. That's not a reason. That's not them reasoning to it. That's them going,
Yeah,
oh
it
look.
is to a degree.
No,
Yeah,
it's not.
like you
No,
think
it's
you're
not.
like
It's
an
a
arrowhead.
If X
No,
did
it's
Y,
not.
it's a reasoning process.
It's not. Yeah, that's because I put it that way in the modern sense. They don't think of it that way. They literally just think, oh, this works. Don't know why it works. Got no idea why it's working, but it works. They didn't reason to going, oh, look, something sharp is going to be better here.
Well, regardless of whether they're able to word it that way, they are getting a cause and effect understanding or relation between the action and then the cause.
But they don't
So
know why.
These are.
In order
I
for it
agree.
to
They
be
don't.
reason, they would have to know why, and they don't
Mhm.
know why. It's behavior. One day they broke a stick and it was sharp, and they managed to stab someone, and they thought, oh, okay, let's try that again. And they broke another stick, and they broke another stick, and eventually someone went, right, if I break a stick with a stone, it helps it be sharp. And then they went, oh, okay, now if I hit the stick several more times, it becomes sharp. This is just behavior.
Leo disagrees with you. Leo says,
Well, we
reason
disagree on many
precedes
things.
behavior.
I know that's what we call it now. I've tried to say that twice already, right? But that's not what they thought. They
Sure.
didn't have the power to advance, to think ahead, right? It's a behavioral thing, just the same way that monkeys behave when they're in the wild, right?
Mhm.
Otherwise, they would be going, okay, well, let me just build I don't know. Let me just build something. That would be reasoning.
I think you're short. You're cutting our primate ancestors and our fellow primates actually short like a little bit. I think.
Yeah, a lot.
Seems a little anecdotal too for
That's
me.
because
but
we have to evolve.
It's an arbitrary distinction for me.
That's because we have to evolve. Well, that's how we look at it. I mean, I think you're just being presentist by saying, "Oh, it's reason." They must be reasoning. No,
Sure, I mean they wouldn't have called it reasoning, but that
they
doesn't
called it
really
anything.
matter.
It predates speech.
Well, they could have walked, and they wouldn't have called it walking, but they were still doing it, Simos.
Right. Okay. So they're doing a behavior, right? So
Yeah,
did they think,
they're
oh,
walking.
let me...
It doesn't matter
so
if
let
they
me...
think it's walking.
Yeah, but when you say walking, right, are they doing it because they have to, or are they thinking, oh, it'd be good to walk on 2 feet? Did bipedalism turn out to be something which they thought ahead of time and went, oh, it'd be really good if we could just walk here because that way I can hold shit? Or were they just holding shit and they thought, okay, I need to get somewhere?
Well, we may have been already bipedal before we left the trees because the gibbons, you know how the gibbons walk with their arms up and they hang onto the trees, but they walk standing up. There's some suggestion, there's some theory that we were already walking sort of like a gibbon.
I've heard that.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, there's
I
processes
just
that,
think I
that
just think that
select. I mean, I'm not
we are
arguing
looking
that.
we are just looking back at it and saying, well, this is what we're going to call reasoning.
I
I
just
don't
don't
think
think
they
they
No, we
thought
can do it now with
the
the
way
crows, though, Simon.
we reason, right, is to think of agency and think ahead of time, right? So we're planning something when we're reasoning. I don't think that's the case. I think it's behavioral. It's a
I don't
behavioral
agree.
habit that became reasoning, right? But
I
they
don't
weren't.
agree. I don't agree with that.
Well, the accidental nature of it is what I'm pointing to say. Okay, so did they always sharpen their sticks? Well, no.
Yeah,
That took a long time for the apes to start, that were killing with sticks, in order to justify and go, okay, now we know what we're doing. Now this is a process which can be reasoned. Right. So
sure.
that's
I
all.
know.
That's all I'm saying. The accidental
Okay.
part about it is it's
Sure, there
behavioural.
is an accidental component of it, especially in the evolutionary process. But I'm just, as far as the term, though, it just seems like we're getting a little anecdotal on it. I mean, when we generally look at studies on like crows and their process, I mean, most of these studies will say that crows reason more than other birds.
Yes.
But I mean, by the definition that you're using, like that still wouldn't be reason. That's just seeing a
Rats
cause and
reason.
effect. But
Look, yeah,
Rats
but
reason.
there's a difference. There's a difference. There's a big difference, right? The difference being is that the hominins that were first stabbing saber-toothed tigers, right? Presumably, only had that as a defense mechanism, right? They weren't going out to kill them because they probably didn't even eat meat at the time, right? So
I
this
don't,
is just
I don't
this
know.
is just this is just behavioral. That's all I'm saying.
It
It's
is behavioral, but it can be
I think
both.
it's
That's
both.
all I'm.
I
and
think it's
therefore-
both. I'm gonna say it's compatibilism with
it's
reason
presentism.
and behavior.
You're putting your reasoning onto them.
No, I think you're saying that the only reasoning is the reasoning that we do, like now, and not even all of us do that.
I didn't
Hey
say
man,
that at all.
but
No,
like, why did the chicken cross the road?
I didn't say that.
Yeah, flat earthers still
That's
today.
exactly it.
No, I'm not saying you said that, Simon. So I'm just making it as a
No.
joke.
Robin
as
said.
far as,
Robin said that it was only the present day reasoning was the kind of reasoning that counted as reasoning, and I wasn't saying anything like that.
yeah.
No, eventually it came to the point where we learned how to make tools in the true sense of the word, deliberately,
Sure.
and that's when reasoning starts. And this is still in hominins, right? But by this time we're much more advanced than just accidentally trying to defend off saber-toothed tigers with sticks.
Yeah.
And at that
Well,
point,
I'm ready to eat.
which is the point he made, right? I'm not saying that, Leo's not saying something different, but the point I'm making is what he said was when we first started doing that we were reasoning. And I don't think that that's the case. I think that's just behavioral, that's reactionary, and it's behavioral.
I would love for it to roll until we find something with some meat on it that we can grab a hold of.
I can move it around a little bit. We are going to shut down here in a minute because BS is going to be coming on at 9, and like
Sure.
I can't compete with BS.
Thank you, Noah, as well. I agree.
Let's see what I can't remember. I should have picked out something.
Thank you, now. Yeah, I completely agree.
Oh, he goes to the problem of evil, his belief in God. Let's see what he says here at the end.
Okay. Well, just go to
sure
fine
hoping
tuning.
this-
Is there a fine tuning one there?
Yeah.
Just
wanna
go
do
to the
that?
fine. Yeah, just go to the fine tuning because Robert's got some stuff to say on that.
He likes the fine tuning. That's Robert loves that argument.
Yeah, we all love the fine tuning argument.
Sort of thing that pushes people toward religion. But, the reality is that if I'm sure you've experienced this in your, your own interviewing, right? But I think that there are 5 good arguments for being religious, and that their convergence together gets you to strong reasons to be religious, right? If you talk to 5 different people, each of those people will find one of the arguments I offer sort of ridiculous,
Yeah,
right?
Sure.
But find another one intuitive,
Yeah, that's
right?
fair enough,
So, for instance, when I co-taught this class, right, this was a bunch of Yale undergraduates and graduate students, and they had coming in a strong scientific materialist bias, many of them, not all. You had all kinds of kids, but it was a seminar. So
It was a seminar. Oh, yeah, lots of Christians are physicalists, aren't they? Because that makes fucking sense. Is that not crazy, Robert?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like he had a bunch of reasons that he threw. It's like throwing darts at a board, and then like somebody was bound to find something that they found compelling.
Well, you know, the fact he said, "Oh, look, we did a seminar, right? You know, which presumably he's a theologian, so there you go." And that means that he was giving it to people who already believed in God.
Sure.
And then now he's saying that you know, well, quite a few of them were physicalists, right? Well, I don't know how many physicalists are theists as well. That doesn't make any sense at all.
Robin, I think we lost you.
Yeah.
Simos, you're running the show now.
Okay. Well, it's always down to me, isn't it? Okay. Yeah. Hi, everybody. But please remember to like and subscribe. We'd really appreciate that. And let's try and get. She's only 4 away. Robin is only 4 away from the 500 mark. So we'd really like that. If you've got any other legitimate accounts, not sock accounts, but legitimate accounts, please go and switch onto them. And please subscribe. She's definitely worth it. She's got a fantastic debate coming up between Robert and somebody else who is seemingly somebody worth debating.
we haven't established that yet, the date, but yeah, I'm definitely down for it. And if he's down for it, and there's no problem,
he seemed like he seemed like.
Did y'all know that we were not even that the internet was out?
No, I didn't know that. I just carried on while you were away. That's all.
I'm not even sure that we're on because it says, "Oops, connection lost, reconnected."
Yeah, we're still on. We're still on. It was on
while
you were
still on here. I'm not sure the YouTube's still running though.
Yeah, I'm looking at the YouTube.
Yep, still running on the YouTube. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, Theories of Creation, I think, is the person that is going to be debating Robert in probably a couple of weeks, something like that.
You want to debate him, Robert?
Keep an eye out that, and remember to like and subscribe. We're only 4 away from 500 people. So, in fact, I'm going to go on to one of my other accounts and just subscribe now. So we're only going to be 3 away. So if you could try and get Robin to...
I need watch hours. I need watch hours. I've got like half as many watch hours as I...
Yeah, well, once we get over 500, they'll start promoting you more. So that's great.
Yes.
Yeah, anyway. So, yeah, let's like and subscribe, please. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I have another show that's tugging at me too, y'all, a little bit. So I do appreciate you. Thank you for inviting me on here. And I think we're coming up on the 9 o'clock hour. So I'm fixing to.
And there's a link to BS's video if anybody wants to follow us over there. BS is always a treat. Anytime he does a video, he's animations and stuff. So, yeah. Yep. Thank you, Robert. Thank you, Simos. I'm so glad y'all came. And I've got some debates coming up later next month, and thank you all for coming.
Yep, appreciate it. Take care.
Thank you. It was a lot of fun, and it's always nice to debunk a Catholic.
Yes,
they're a bit easier, but reasoning in hominids appear. This is Majestic Beck. Reasoning in hominids appear all at once in hominid history instead of evolving or perhaps overlapping stage of millions of years with our ancestors. Brains grew and evolved and changed. Paleontologists track through the emergence of reasoning through tool design. That's exactly what my case was. Brain case fossils and cultural artifacts. Yeah, good. Okay. It did not appear all at once. Thank you, Majestic. I thought that would be the case. Yes. I've been doing a little looking into that as well. Apparently, they wanted to debate me too for some reason.
Yeah,
if you're a theist, if you're a theist, Nell, then I'd love to debate you. And again, I'll do it on Robin's. And your videos are short at Robin. Yeah, she likes to keep them short. If I knew we were close to 500 subs, I would encourage the little fluffle to add to the count. Now, let's get her there. Let's just keep doing it. And also, bearing in mind, we need to get over the 500, well over it. You know, you need to get to 510 to make it a rock solid thing.
Yep. All right, I'm gonna hit the thing for the outro so we can get over to BS's before he starts.
Yeah, we got another minute, but yeah, okay.
Huh?
Oh, we got another minute. Just
9 o'clock.
Calm down. Got a minute. You know, that's a lifetime for some species. Okay. That's it. Thank you, everybody.
Love y'all.
Um,
And I still don't think my internet's working.